Aliko will be testifying on the importance of Mauna Kea to the whole Pacific, and also to how for Kamehameha's Act 2, Kamehameha III, 1840, how it relates to HRAR 13-5, and how that impacts not only Hawaii, but the whole Polynesia.
Okay. And the written direct testimony is, a copy has been given to Mr. Carroll?
Yes. I think.
Okay. Mr. Ng?
Can I get a point of procedural clarification?
Yes.
Is Mr. Kaiama going to be allowed to redirect the witness following cross?
I'm going to ask whether or not that's going to happen.
Okay, if he does, then I would request that he not lead the witness through rehabilitation of the witness's testimony.
I
It is
understand.
not the witness testifying, it is him. So that's totally improper.
Got it. In this administrative hearing, informal proceeding, I understand that process, and I consider this to be an issue of weight to be given. So, thank you, Mr. Ng. So, Mr. Kanaele, this is your witness. You'll be doing the redirect examination. All right. And again, the testimony has to be limited to the written direct. Okay. So, Mr. Carroll. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for your patience. I know it's been a long wait for your time to
Thank you.
testify. May I ask you to please state your name, and if you could help us out by spelling it, then we'll get that accurate.
In short form, my name is Wiremu, W-I-R-E-M-U, which stands for William Carroll. My other names are Kaisara Kapakea.
Could you speak
Yes.
into the microphone and then just spell those last names out for us?
Yes. Kaisara Kalanianiole Rufiu. R-U-W-H-I-U.
And how do you spell the other names? Not Kalani Anaole.
Kaisara, K-A-I-S-A-R-A.
Thank you.
Kapakea. That's the full name, Kapakea.
Kapakea? Is that K-A-P-A-K-E-A?
Yes.
All right. And your last name is 2 R's and 2 L's?
Yes.
All right. And sir, may I ask you to please raise your right hand to take the oath? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the matters before this tribunal shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. May I ask you, sir, if you have your written direct testimony in front of you?
I only have my original copy that I wrote.
Okay,
handwriting, but Mr. Kanaele has it on his.
Mr. Carroll, excuse me. It's really easy to get away from the microphone, but so we really have to have everybody be able to hear what you're saying, especially.
Okay.
So, do you have your written direct testimony in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and how many pages is that long?
It's 5 pages.
5 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
And does that represent your statements?
Yes, it does.
And as to those statements, as you sit here under oath, are you affirming that the statements are true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. As you might know, every witness has a chance to summarize their testimony up to 10 minutes. And it's up to you whether you'd like to do that or not.
I will.
Okay?
Hai. Hai ngā iwi e ngā mana e ngā reo e ngā karanga. Kia ora hoki tātou i tēnei ata. I tēnei nohonga. Ke ka haki a maia, kia u, kia ngāwari. O aitu ere aitu ki kemi atu wakatiki. O te kore nui, te kore ro, te kore para, te kore wiwia. Te kore o ti atu ki te pō. Nau nui, nau ro, hotu waiari ki tapatai tiki. Tiki te paumua, tiki te pauroto, tiki mai aha i Hawaii, yeah. My name is Wiremu Carroll, and I would first like to present my credential
So you're putting something in the overhead, but can you tell us if that's an exhibit?
That's just my credential to identify myself as a subject of the territory and also the Hawaiian Kingdom, and I carry a New Zealand passport.
I see.
These are, the second part here are relating to the validity of these documents. That's about all I have to say about that. I'm intervening on behalf of some of the litigants here, of all the litigants, because the revised laws of Hawaii give us protected rights that were established in 1955 under the federal doctrine. The Royal Order of Kamehameha is incorporated into the territory under Section 80 of the Organic Act. And so that's where I wish to begin from. The Organic Act, in my testimony here, relates to the rights of litigants, and in somewhat I cover the laws where there have been breaches, as an example, and I will extol upon those later on when I'm cross-examined on that. What else can I say? I'm ready for people to cross-examine me. Can you hear me clearly? Okay.
I'm sorry, sir. What did you say last?
I said, I'm ready if people would want to cross-examine me.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Ward?
Kahu? Good
Yes.
morning. My
Good
name
morning.
is Deborah Ward. Are you a member of the Royal Order of Kamehameha?
Yes, I am.
And can you tell me what your position is there?
At the moment, I'm the Alihi Kaua, the war chief, and the Mauna Kea falls within the jurisdiction of my office for oversight. So that's why I've been following it and in regards to federal statutes where there have been violations.
I see. And how long have you been a member of the Royal Order of Kamehameha?
98, 99. I was initiated into the Royal Order. But I first began my practice here in 1969. So I've been on that mountain since 1969.
Have you observed changes on the mountain since you've been there?
Could you repeat that?
Have you observed changes on the mountain since you
Oh,
have started
absolutely,
practicing there?
absolutely. They're quite obvious. The grading that's going on up there at the moment. Other intrusions, which we consider to be intrusions, and all these are, how would I say, are given in Chapter 14 of the revised laws of Hawaii 1955, protecting all the rights. And so it covers several areas in regards to, like 14.1 as an example, building materials. The right of our people to build a thatched hut up there at the, where the...
At the Holly?
Yes, at the Holly. That is upheld
I see.
in these laws. The many other things, but what I really want to turn to is the if you read the from 14.1 through 14.11, it's quite self-explanatory. That and I can put that up on.
Kahu, I'm afraid at this point that you need to be answering questions
Yes.
rather than developing testimony. I apologize. I wonder if you could tell us what your responsibilities are with the Royal Order of Kamehameha.
Oversight.
Oversight.
Mhm.
Okay. So do you go to the mountain on a regular basis?
A lot of times.
All the times. Okay. You and I have participated in solstice and equinox
Yes, we have.
ceremonies together. Do you go any other time?
Yes.
Okay. And in the role of oversight, what do you have to do? What do you have to do in your role as an overseer?
Just to observe what's going on, document that,
Okay.
and document any violations. That's basically what I do.
Thank you. To your knowledge, was the Conservation District use permit vacated as a result of the Supreme Court decision in 2015, as you refer to in page 1 of your
I believe so.
testimony? So do you believe that the university and the 30-meter telescope project undertook grading operations prior to the Supreme Court decision?
Excuse me?
Yes.
The thing is ringing. Your voice is ringing in the... I can't quite hear you.
Oh, I see. I'll stand backward a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Do you believe that the university and the 30-meter telescope project undertook grading operations prior to the Supreme Court decision?
Oh, absolutely.
And as you state in your testimony, do you believe that's a violation of 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights?
Yes.
And
Deprivation of land, actually.
Could you say that again, please?
Deprivation of rights, which also includes deprivation of land.
Okay.
And that's a protective statute.
And in addition, do you believe the grading and land alteration were done in violation of HRS 711-1177, which is the desecration
Yes.
statute? Okay. Do you also affirm in your testimony that the rights of citizens were violated under 18 U.S. Code 241, which is conspiracy against citizens, and 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights?
Yes.
Were you arrested on the mountain?
No.
Okay. And do you know people that were arrested on the mountain?
Yes.
And did you see deprivation of rights during the arrests?
Yes.
Okay. In the time that you've been an overseer for the Royal Order of Kamehameha, do you believe that the effect of the concentration of telescopes on the summit ridge has affected the religious or cultural practices of the people that you know who are religious practitioners, either of Native Hawaiian origin or of Pacific origin?
Catastrophic.
Okay. Thank you, Kahu. I appreciate your testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. And while Ms. Pisciotta is approaching the podium, if I can address the witness, is it appropriate to call you Kahu Carroll?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'll do that. Ms. Pisciotta?
Yes, thank you. Oh. Wait. Aloha, Kahu.
Morning, Kealoha.
I can call you Kahu, right?
Yes. We're friends.
Yes. But you're also my teacher as well.
Yes.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you, first, can you just clarify one thing that Ms. Ward had asked? Is it Hawaii, the desecration law is Hawaii Revised Statutes 711-1107?
Yes.
Okay, just,
That's
no,
fine.
that's okay. I want to start with your other work, which is not just the Royal Order work, but the work of what people normally call archaeoastronomy.
Yes.
And Mauna Kea's relationship to the Pacific.
Okay.
And if you could, can you just tell us a little bit about how some of that work that you've done, for example, with Francis Werther?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you share?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Francis Werther was well known for his work on archaeoastronomy, and I happened to co-author with him or work with him. And my particular job was to make sure that as a Hawaiian practitioner that what he was made assumptions on could actually be proved. And that is something that is provable, and it depends what time of the year. It could be in the solstices, it could be in the equinoxes, it could be practices at Pupoliahu, not Pupoliahu, at the 6,000 foot level, at Puhuluhulu. And there are many shrines, but you know, we need to understand the whole island is sacred. And our practice is from the mountain to the sea. So we can't petition it up, but we only see that as our duty and responsibility as Hawaiians and practitioners to take care of that kuleana.
Yes. Just for clarification, because we know that you carry an Aotearoa passport,
yes,
but you are also a Kanaka Maoli as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you like, I can give you my genealogy, but I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, you have done some work on the relationship of some of the shrines out in Motumanamana, which is what's the English name?
That's the tropical.
Right. Oh, yeah. Nihoa.
Nihoa.
No, Necker. Sorry. I don't know the English name.
Right.
Motumanamana.
Aye.
Yes. And yes, and so the relationship of Motumanamana as the tropic line, right? And its relationship with Mauna Kea and the solstice and
yes,
equinox points, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I hear you sometimes refer to Mauna Kea as the high point of the Pacific. Can you just explain the importance of that high point of the Pacific?
Yes.
Briefly.
I think that if everybody's aware, there was a film made by Puhipau, and I was interviewed in that, and I call that the place where we come from, the Piko. It is the... Oh, that better, Hank?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called the Piko Wakea, and it has significance through all of Polynesia, particularly the Tahiti, Rarotonga, and Aotearoa, of course. There are many other islands, but the connections are basically the Eo traditions that were established not only on Mauna Kea that I speak about, but in the Tuamotus, in Tūhoe, which is one of the nations of Aotearoa, and that can be substantiated by reading Alison Best, who wrote quite completely on the Eo traditions, of which I am a priest.
Yes. So some of the ceremonies on Mauna Kea include the Eo traditions. Is that correct?
Yes.
And, you also have mentioned before the Pacific Triangle is not just a two-dimensional, but actually a three-dimensional relationship.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, it's a living entity. The triangle. You have to realize that when it's summer or winter in the north on Mauna Kea, in the south it's the opposite. So we have, we can measure both ends.
Right.
The Hawaiian New Year, of course, begins in June, in the June solstice, and it's measured in the winter. In Aotearoa, the season begins with the catching of the mokihana, that particular fish. And in Hawaii, of course, it's the summer, and that's the fishing of the ahi that gather off Mahukona. And I can attest to that because those were the upbringing stories that I was raised with in New Zealand. So when I came here in 1969, I went to Mahukona, and I actually dove and watched all the tuna come in. Those are the stories of that are related to Pukuhola.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you had direct involvement, is that correct, with the placement of the lele on Mauna Kea?
Yes.
As your role in the Royal Order, but also as your role in a kilo or a star person and a cosmological person of cosmological knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit about Hiki Ana Lia?
Yes.
Excuse me, about what?
Sorry, Hiki Ana Lia. It's a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. Hiki Ana Lia.
Oh, Hiki Ana Lia, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hiki Ana Lia is one of the constellations. But the historical fact is that the name Hiki Ana Lia comes from Kukona. Kukona, who is the father of Manokalani Po, who is the father of Kamapua. And these are all characters that are embedded in the history of New Zealand. It shows that the Hawaiians navigated the Pacific quite often, went from one island to the next island. As a good example, when the lava flow was happening at Kahu, where did they all go? They went to Aotearoa. They went to their other home, to Ngalehu down in New Zealand. They went to Punalu. They went to Hilo. So there is an exact map of the Hawaiian Islands that is recreated on the eastern part of New Zealand, and that is even in this document here. It talks about the county of Hawaii South, and the county of Hawaii South happens to be Aotearoa.
Wow.
That's fact.
Right. I understand. Okay. So one of the reasons for practicing these things and having this cosmological understanding is to establish time and place. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And so, for example, when we spoke about the shifting of the heavens,
Yes.
that we're measuring and participating
Yes.
in that shifting, and we need to acknowledge those shifts.
Yes.
And so that is one of the reasons for using the alignments that go down the archipelago. Is that correct?
That's right.
And so the priesthood practices, would actually require the clear view planes unobstructed.
Absolutely. And just to cover that point, the name of Kukaukahi is also called Tauaranio. Tauaranio is a relationship in the body forms of our akua that relates to the neo, the coastal neo, and also the high neo that grow in Aotearoa, that grow in colder weather, that can sustain that. It also aligns through Pukole, through, I believe it is the Ahukini, that's a bay to the right of South Point, in a direct line through Tutuila, in a direct line through Tonga, and it ends up at Kahu, Aotearoa, where Maui's hook is. That's for the great fish of Maui.
And then the great Maui lassoing the sun at Tapu Tapu Atea.
Yes.
And how is it lassoed and anchored?
Maui's fishing off Kona, and he catches a big stingray, the big manta ray. The manta ray drags him, and then he ends up in a place where everything is still. And then he begins to notice the earth starts spinning the opposite way. So he ends up at Tapu Tapu Ati, and Tapu Tapu Ati is basically related to the sun worshippers. Okay, that's what Kia Nui is about, the actual worship of the sun, or the morning star, whatever you want to call it, the rising of the sun. And we can actually date those. We achieve our calendar by that form.
Because, tell me if this is correct, affirm this if you can, that we can pretty much predict when the pole stars are changing, and therefore determine when the pole stars change what time period within the 26,000-year cycle we're in?
Yes. Well, we worked on that project, didn't we, Kealoha? Because I asked her to establish when Canopus was a pole star. Canopus was a pole star 13,000 years ago. That was the northern star. So we do have a continual drift in movement of that. So that's just the nature of things. Te ao huri, te ao rapu, the world turning on an axle of strength towards its beginning. That is the essence of that.
And I just have one, maybe two more questions. But can I ask you to, can I approach and ask him to put this just in the view?
Is that marked?
No, it doesn't. I can mark it.
Yes, you can.
Okay, as sorry, B28.
Whatever's next in order is fine.
Okay.
It's a good idea to do that, because otherwise when you look at your transcript, you'll have nothing to refer to. This way, if you mark it, we identify it, we're looking at the same thing, it's part of the record, and we know what we know what Kahu Carroll was talking about.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah. I was wondering if you could, if you're able to point out Poliahu, her image, her kino lau in that picture. Are you able to? It's okay if you're not, but
no,
it's hard to see.
I'm not able to.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, let's hand it to the witness.
Okay.
And then you can look at it closely. And then when you're done looking at it, maybe you can put it back on the projector, and you can answer Ms. Pisciotta's question.
If you can, Kahu, can you show her bodily form, where the telescopes are and where that is on her body?
I'm not too sure.
Sir,
I've seen so many pictures that I'm...
Yeah, that's okay.
Kahu Carroll.
I don't have to ask.
Excuse me. We weren't able to hear your responses.
Oh, I'm just telling you that I can't quite identify it because I've looked at so many pictures, but I'm not able to identify it from here.
That's okay. That's
all right?
okay. I don't have to ask that question. Okay, wait. I just have a couple more though.
Yes.
You spoke about the importance of the alignments and that we need unobstructed views to those alignments. So if those view planes are obstructed, is that an injury to you?
Oh, absolutely. It takes away what I'm speaking about, the ability to have unrestricted view, unrestricted connection, the spirit of all things. It is. I consider that, even to propose that, an injury.
And would you, knowing the space up there, will the TMT obstruct those view planes?
Absolutely.
And it would, based on your testimony, affect and shift not only the practice of what we do here looking out, but it would also affect the practice of others looking back. Exactly.
The reciprocal alignment that we do when we're in Aotearoa, and I'm looking at Scorpius. I'm right underneath it. I'm looking back at Hawaii, and there's Corona Borealis or Poliahu sitting right on top of Mauna Kea.
And can you see where? Can you point out where the telescopes are right now on that image? Can you see them?
Which again refers to
Oh,
B.
I see. Are they just those balls sticking out the top up there? Like that?
Excuse me, just a minute, Kahu. So again, we're referring to B28.
B28.
Yeah,
So
I see them now.
Yeah, I know. It's a little, the background isn't, but so that's basically right here, and those already have an impact, correct?
Yes, we said that when we were doing the Mauna Kea document. Even the other telescopes there are affecting our ability and our capacity to practice, and what we're saying is stop. No more.
No more.
Right.
No further development.
No further development.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's addressed by that particular document that...
The Temple report.
right.
Yes. Okay. And were you ever asked to share your knowledge, your star knowledge, or your cosmological knowledge by anyone from Board of Land and Natural Resource, University, Kahu Mauna, OMKM, TIO,
No.
TNT?
No, and that's the irony of it all, that they did not consult, and that's part of my argument. If you don't consult, and there is a set of rules that you, or statutes that you consult with, if you don't do those, and it's all null and void.
And just to make one last connection with what you had said earlier about the county, in 1890, is it your testimony that Prince Kuhio went to Aotearoa and helped to establish some of those things?
Absolutely. I have the book here with him in Aotearoa, along with other Hawaiian chiefs. It's in this document here, Tipua. I'll just put it right there. You can.
So I'm just marking the record.
Yes. And I can actually show you there's a picture of Prince Kuhio right in here.
Tipua, Life and Times of Sir Apirana.
Yeah, that's Apirana Kanakaole. That's the Kanakaole family.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nata. Okay.
Right.
Okay. No, I think I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kahu. Mahalo.
thank you, Ms. Pisciotta. Mr.
thank
Ching?
Good morning, Kahu.
Morning, Ku.
In the picture that is on the screen at this point,
Yes.
B28, do you have any idea from which geographic location this picture was taken?
I'm really, I don't.
You don't?
Because I don't know. It doesn't take into other features that I can recognize. That's why I don't quite recognize that.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since I don't believe you've seen this picture before, so I was just curious as to...
No, I haven't seen that picture before. Yeah.
Okay. Did you testify that you had a relationship with Kukona?
Yes.
And is he part of your genealogical line?
Yes.
I think that's great.
Okay.
He's one of my ancestors too.
Okay.
I appreciate your coming here, and I'd love to ask more questions of you. But your knowledge is so profound that I do not want this information to be on the transcripts of this hearing, so I will stop now. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ching. Mr. Kaiama?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Kahu.
Good morning.
Yes. I noticed in your written direct testimonies, let me restate it again. The royal order, Kahu,
Yes.
has existed long before the rules and laws and statutes that you cite in your written direct testimony. Is that correct?
Great.
Okay. And I also understand through your testimony that your duties in the royal order is oversight.
Yes.
So to view, observe, and then to document. To observe and then document.
Yes.
And I noticed in your written direct testimony, you've documented a number of violations that you have observed.
Yes, I have.
My question to you, sir, is I noticed that in your documentation, and you've cited mostly Hawaii state statute or federal statute.
Yes.
That's correct. Have you also documented the violations that you've observed under Hawaiian Kingdom law?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you why it is that you invoke American law, that being Hawaii state statute and federal statute, for the violations that you have observed?
Because we have to transit out of where we are, and the royal order has always been that type of instrument where we stay, uplift people, allow them to move forward, and ultimately for the restoration of our kingdom rights.
Yes. So as a member of the royal order, you do believe that, of course, that currently the Hawaiian territory is under illegal occupation by the United States.
Absolutely.
But in your role as oversight and documenter, and in order to protect Namea Hawaii, the royal order at this time currently invokes the laws that are available to them.
Yes.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean you agree that they should be applicable in this case. You just feel at the present time it's a necessity.
Yes, it allows us a forum to move forward.
Mahalo, Kahu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaiama. Mr. Fergerstrom?
Aloha mai kahu tarangi.
Aloha.
I agree with Ku that your information is so profound and on such deep levels, it's very hard to put it in a public forum like this. So you talked in your written direct about the Polynesian Triangle and how Hawaii was, I believe it's the head of the triangle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Kealoha was also speaking about a 26,000 year period. Yep. Where things are changing. We are, or do you believe that we are on the cusp of that great change right now?
Yes.
You speak about all these rights that you've been observing being violated. Do you know where relief can be had for those infractions on the people?
Could you repeat that?
Yes, I said, you have spoken a lot about documenting violations of the rights of the people.
Yes.
Do you know in what venue we'll find a way to have that relieved? Find judicial relief?
Could you repeat the last part?
Yeah, okay. I'll try to do it again. You mentioned a lot about documenting violations against the people of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know of a venue where that can be remedied?
Yes, there are remedies for that.
Could you give me an idea where would we go next?
Well, yeah, obviously, first of all, you have to determine if there's those that were injured would need to file a suit, and that could be transferred to the United States Supreme Court for hearing.
Would you say that we'd go directly to the Supreme Court?
Yes.
I see.
In fact, I already have a brief that I'm ready to file on behalf of all the petitioners.
That's all I have for you right now. Thank you very much, Kahu.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fergerstrom.
Looking forward to seeing that brief, too.
Ms. Kihoi?
Aloha, Kahu.
Aloha.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say mahalo for your testimony today and for being here and for all the work that you've done in the protection of our Mauna.
Thank
Mahalo.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Kihoi. Mr. Ashida?
No questions.
Mr. Sinkin?
Aloha, Kahu.
Aloha, Lanny.
I think we go back pretty far.
Yes, we do.
The Lightworker Center in Hilo. You're aware of the trust relationship between the state of Hawaii and Native Hawaiians, yes?
Yes.
And when you refer to the rights of the people of Hawaiiana, are you referring to Native Hawaiians?
All the people.
All the people.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the trust relationship, however, Hawaiians are the beneficiaries, is that
yes.
correct? And are Hawaiian nationals the beneficiaries of the trust?
Subjects, nationals, others who...
Kanaka.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any time in the history that the beneficiaries of the trust have ever relinquished their rights?
Never.
And are you familiar with the various title processes that have taken place in the Hawaiian Islands?
Somewhat.
Are you familiar with a lodial title?
Yes.
And is the Mauna Kea subject to a lodial title?
Yes, it is. It's the Saison of the Ali Nui and the people, which incorporates different classes of land, crown government, people.
If you can stay real close to the microphone, you're
okay.
You're a little bit low there. Can you explain a lodial title?
Yes. We make the rules.
Maybe a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah. If you hold the allodial title, then you make the rules over the land.
You are the ultimate owner of the
yes.
land. And the allodial title in Mauna Kea, who is vested with that title?
I beg your pardon?
The allodial title you mentioned for Mauna Kea, who is vested with that title?
The Ali Nui.
The Ali Nui.
Mm-hmm.
And in your view, those rights still exist?
Absolutely.
That's all I had. Thank you very much, Kahu.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinkin.
Great, Vicente. Good morning. I have no questions. I reserve the rights to the federal questions under the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2. The Reciprocity Treaty, which places this kingdom under United States occupation, is illegal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vicente. Mrs. Freitas?
Aloha, Cindy Freitas. Aloha, Kahu.
Aloha.
In your written testimony, I noticed Section 14-10.3, Hawaiian Antiquities. Mm-hmm. Would you consider the whole Mauna Kea antiquity?
The whole island.
The whole thing.
Right.
Under that rule, it states any person who appropriate, excavate, injures, or destroy any historic or prehistoric ruins or monument or any objects of antiquity situated on the land, would that be a violation of the lease, of the general lease S-4191 under the covenants with the lesser number 12, which they state objects of antiquity? Would that be a violation?
Yes. Please do not answer the question. If you could lay the foundation, for instance, has this witness reviewed the lease?
Well, have you seen or know about the lease between the UH and BLNR that was signed in 1968?
No.
No? Okay. But you did confirm that Mauna Kea is of Hawaiian antiquity?
Yes.
And would that also interfere or is a discrimination of religious and culture, spiritual in the land? Thank you. No more questions.
Thank you. Mr. Freitas?
Good morning, Uncle.
Morning.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I'm William Freitas. I stand in protection of our Native Hawaiian rights. In the histories and the history of the island of New Zealand, the people of New Zealand, we are closely related. Would you agree?
Yes, and I can tell you how we're related. Kamehameha I conquered all the lands of Aotearoa, and that came under Kaukaiori, Kamehameha III. The Treaty of 1840 was a document that established the rights of the chiefs of Hawaii, this island. The 22 ka'au are listed there, and I have the list of those persons who signed that, but I'm reserving that to the families to inquire so that they can identify their kuleana.
Mahalo, thank you.
Yeah.
Throughout the years of our people, our kupuna, that have went through the struggle to hang on to identity or hang on to their lives, that we can be here today to stand in behalf of them. Do you understand that struggle?
Yes.
And the practices of our kupuna that set the path and our spirituality to Mauna Oakea.
Aye.
Thank you. Could you explain what is I?
Yes.
Okay. That's for the record.
Thank you.
The sections that you reference in your WD, from 1 to 11, those are references of rules or laws.
Basic rights.
And could you tell me what book does these reference out of?
Yes, the revised laws of Hawaii 1955.
Could you come closer to the mic?
The revised laws of Hawaii 1955 is a federal undertaking.
And do you have that with you?
Yes.
Thank you. And what is the importance of that particular 1955 volume?
Because it lays out all the rights that we have, including Konahiki rights, how the Hawaiian homes came into being, how they were then absorbed into the territory. Well, lots of things like that.
When you say absorbed, mean forced? Or
returned.
Okay, thank you. So the laws that are binding us today are laws that came and revised from 1955 volumes?
Yeah, these are rights that you previously hold, so the state of Hawaii has to take those into account.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So upon the Admissions Act, was those particular rules in that book revised or amended?
I don't know whether they were incorporated into the state law or not, but obviously the section regarding protection of our rights under the state is quite clear.
So those sections from 1 to 11 are protections?
Yes.
Of indigenous, Native Hawaiian, Kanaka Maoli?
Yes.
Yes. So my understanding is that the Royal Order of Kamehameha has not approved the building of the TMT.
We already established that there will be no more construction on Mauna Kea. I think that was our statement. We stand on that.
Mahalo. Well, with that, I stand with you and mahalo you for all your efforts in helping to protect Mauna Oakea. Aloha nui kako.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas, and let's take a 10-minute break, resume at 11:10. Thank you very much. Mr. Manat, and again, Kahu, I'll remind you that the testimony you're about to give continues under the oath you took earlier to tell the truth. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Manat.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Kahu Carroll.
Good morning.
My name is Pete Minot. I represent the University of Hawaii. Just have a few questions, clarification questions. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the territory of Hawaii, New Zealand.
Okay, so when you say I think you said the territory of Hawaii?
Yes.
And then you said New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay, so is that the island area off of Australia known as New Zealand?
The northern parts of the North Island.
The North Island in the country that is now recognized as New Zealand, correct?
Yes.
How long have you lived in the state of Hawaii?
On and off since 1969.
Do you have any native Hawaiian ancestry?
Yes.
Have you done your genealogy?
Yes.
And are you related to anyone genealogically on the island of Hawaii?
Yes.
And who would that be?
Lots of folks. We all have the same common ancestor, and in fact I was alluding to Kukona's genealogy, and so that's a common ancestor. That's how we're all related.
All right, just so we understand though, is it your position that the Maori people of New Zealand are related to the people in Hawaii?
They're the same people.
I see. Okay, so your ancestry that you trace comes as a result of being a Maori descendant and therefore linked ancestrally to the people of Hawaii, correct?
Correct.
Are you a lawyer?
I have an LLB, but I don't practice law. That LLB has to do with, I'm actually a native surveyor, and in being a native surveyor, sometimes we are asked to determine borders, boundaries between tribal boundaries, and to establish a procedure for the transmission of lands, those that are applying for homesteading or farmlets or that type of thing.
Okay, so when you say you have an LLB, is that from a university?
Yeah, Oahu College in New Zealand.
All right, and is that in surveying?
Yes.
Okay. So you do not have a license to practice law in any jurisdiction, correct?
No.
All right, so you're not giving legal opinions here today, correct?
No, I'm just enforcing my position as the alihi kaua as regard to violations that I see and that I've documented on Mauna Kea.
All right, no further questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Ono? Thank you, Mr. Ono. Mr. Kanaele for redirect.
I just have one for redirect. When did your ohana leave Hawaii?
1893 at the overthrow.
And you also are a keeper of Io Kalinui Amamau, Father God.
Yes.
And is that the reason why you left? To hide, to hold that teaching away from encroaching new religions?
Yes.
Thank you. So
Thank you, Mr. Kanaele. Kahu Carroll, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're excused at this time.
Thank you.